Hello there, you're tuning to 7 Edition with me, Tonton, and here are tonight's headlines. Najib claims trial to 25 new charges for abuse of power and money laundering. Prime Minister ashamed of PT and loan defaulters. Another landslide in the Philippines kills at least 15. We begin tonight's bulletin with this story. Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak was slapped with another 25 charges for abuse of power and money laundering at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court today. The latest court case involved 2.3 billion ringgit allegedly transferred into his personal account from One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB. The former Prime Minister pleaded not guilty to all the charges read before Judge Azura Alwi and has granted bail of 3.5 million ringgit with 2 sureties. Dato Sri Najib's first 4 charges were under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) Act, while the other 21 charges were under the Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorism Financing Act. For the charges under the MACC Act, he was accused of using his then position as Prime Minister, Finance Minister and Chairman of the 1MDB Advisory Board to receive bribes on 4 occasions. While the money laundering charges include 9 counts of receiving illegal proceeds, 5 counts of using illegal proceeds, and 7 counts of transferring the proceeds to other entities. All the offences allegedly occurred at Islamic Bank Berhad's Jalan Raja Chulan branch in Bukit Ceylon between February 24, 2011 and December 19, 2014. It took 35 minutes to read the charges over the money transfer, which he maintained was a donation from the Arab royal family in 2013. The judge allowed the bail payments be made in installments as long as it was settled by September 28th. Dato Sri Najib was held overnight by the MACC investigators yesterday before being quizzed by police this morning. Previously, Dato Sri Najib was charged with receiving 42 million ringgit bribe in relation to SRC International Sendiran Berhad. He also had 3 other charges of criminal breach of trust and another 3 for money laundering in relation to the SRC case. Dato Sri Najib has also been barred from leaving the country. The MACC, meanwhile, said Dato Sri Najib could face more charges in connection with the probe into 1MDB. Its Deputy Chief Commissioner of Operations, Dato Sri Azam Baki, told this to the media at the Duta Court Complex this evening.
Saya tidak menolak kemungkinan akan ada putusan lain. Against some other people. Yeah?
Some other people. Is it related to Najib?
I don't want to comment.
Related to 1MDB?
I also don't want to comment.
Dato Sri Rosma bila akan di-charge, Dato Sri?
You may know better than me.
Is this the last charge, Najib?
I don't want to comment on that. Probably there will be some more charges, probably.
Will Rosma be charged later?
Again?
2 men were charged with killing a pregnant cat by putting it in a clothes dryer at the Gombak laundromat at the Selayang Sessions Court today. Both claimed trial when the charge was read out before Judge Rashihah Ghazali. 41-year-old A. Mohan Raj and 26-year-old S.S. Satya were accused with a 3rd person still at large of animal cruelty at the self-service laundry at Taman Gombak Ria on September 11th. They face a fine of between 20,000 and 100,000 ringgit, not more than 3 years imprisonment, or both if found guilty under the Animal Welfare Act. The court allowed bail at 18,000 ringgit each and fixed October 16th for remention. A closed-circuit TV recording showed the act was shared online and drew widespread condemnation from the public. Subsequently, the Malaysian Animal Association published the full personal details of a man it alleged was one of the suspects before lodging a police report. Now, overseas, a Malaysian professor was sentenced to life imprisonment on Wednesday for killing his wife and teenage daughter using a gas-filled yoga ball as his murder weapon. The verdict was delivered after almost 7 hours of deliberation by a jury of 5 men and 4 women at the Hong Kong High Court before the panel unanimously voted 53-year-old Kao Kim Soon guilty. The victims, 47-year-old Wong Siu Fing and 16-year-old Lily, were found unconscious by the roadside, a case which initially baffled the police. The pair were then certified dead at the Prince of Wales Hospital in Sha Tin, the same hospital where Kao worked, and a post-mortem concluded they had died from inhaling carbon monoxide. It was believed that the professor, a specialist in anesthesiology, put a leaking inflatable ball containing carbon monoxide in the boot of a yellow Mini Cooper, driven by his wife on May 22, 2015. Local authorities allege that Kaw, who was having an affair with a student and whose wife refused to divorce him, had orchestrated a deliberate and calculated plot by ordering carbon monoxide through his university office and claiming it was for research purposes. Kaw's 3 other children, the eldest in university and the other 2 still in secondary school, will now be without both their parents, with the professor being put behind bars. The case is the second murder investigation involving an academic in recent months. Last month, a University of Hong Kong professor was arrested on suspicion of killing his wife after police found a body stuffed in a suitcase in his office. Back to the home front, Perak Exco member Siva Nesan said 2 Malaysians died while 3 others have been hospitalized in the state for suspected methanol poisoning. This brings the death toll from consumption of tainted bootleg liquor nationwide to 25, including from Selangor and Kuala Lumpur.
Sebanyak 3 kes telah dimasukkan ke Hospital Raja Permaisuri Bainun, Ipoh, di mana 2 kes memerlukan rawatan. So, they are still being treated. Dan 1 kes is stable case. 2 is quite critical, 1 is stable. Antara gejala yang dialami adalah mata kabur, loya dan muntah, sesak nafas, sakit perut dan sakit badan. Minuman beralkohol yang disyaki adalah berjenama Kingfisher Beer. Kingfisher Beer ini buatan India. Dan Grand Royal Whisky. Manakala terdapat 2 kes kematian disyaki disebabkan oleh keracunan methanol. So it looks as though that this is sold in this area. But we don't know. We are expecting another 20 to 30 and we don't know which area they all come from.
He added the 2 who died were a 50-year-old man and a 39-year-old from Bandar Baru Putra in Bercham. The 50-year-old man died at Raja Permaisuri Bainun Hospital on Monday, and the second victim died following day at a private hospital. The other victims are all locals who were staying in the vicinity of Bercham and Tanjung Rambutan. Health authorities are also keeping a close watch on fruits imported from Australia, especially strawberries, as the needle contamination scare grips the land down under. As a precautionary measure, the Health Ministry, via its Food Safety and Quality Division, is inspecting all fresh Australian strawberries arriving at Malaysia's entry points. According to Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, in a statement today, Australian authorities have recalled Donnybrook strawberries and withdrawn Berry Obsession and Berrylicious brands of the fruit from sale. A significant number of the needles were reported to have been discovered by children and toddlers eating the fruit, and Australian authorities have advised consumers to chop all fruit into pieces before consuming them. News reports also said Australian police are investigating more than 100 reports of fruit tampering cases across the country. many of which are suspected copycat cases or hoaxes and involve strawberries, bananas and apples. Dato Dr. Nur Hisham stated Australian authorities have given their guarantee that effective September 19th, fruits from down under will be free from contamination. Australian exporters have also been told that they must prove their fruits have been scanned by a metal detector or an X-ray machine, indicating that they are clear of contamination before they can be used as permit. The ministry is also working closely with the Australian High Commission in Malaysia on the matter.
To Dr. Mahathir Mohamad today lambasted errant borrowers of the National Higher Education Fund Corporation, PTPTN loans, for their untrustworthiness, which he said has resulted in unpaid loans totaling 36 billion ringgit. The Prime Minister said he was ashamed with this kind of attitude because the borrowers did not have a sense of responsibility when they were trusted with something. Tun Dr. Mahathir also stated that the government had spent a lot of money on PTPTN loans so that poor Malaysians could study at local or overseas universities and ultimately earn a higher income.
We have accumulated 36 billion ringgit of unpaid loans to the PTPTN. I am ashamed, but they are not. They are earning an income. They can very well pay, but they just don't feel like paying. But it's so, it's only $100 a month. If you are earning $2,000, what is $100 a month? Yet they don't pay. Why? It's because they have no amanah. They are not trustworthy.
The Premier also said it only cost 100 ringgit a month to repay the loan, which wasn't much for someone earning a 2,000 ringgit salary. He added those who failed to repay the money borrowed from others shouldn't get upset when people refused to lend them any more money. Still on education, the Cabinet has given the green light for 54 students to be awarded Public Service Department PSD scholarships. PSD Director General Dato Borhandullah said 13 students will be studying at the world's top 10 universities under a 80-20 arrangement in which 80% is sponsored while 20% is self-funded. The other 41 students will receive full PSD scholarships to pursue courses in local universities. In 2016, the government, in a cost-cutting measure, had significantly reduced the number of students sent abroad under PSD scholarships, preferring instead to enroll students in local universities. The Cabinet's decision came following a petition submitted to the government by 63 students who had asked for consideration to be sponsored to study abroad. The UPSR examinations has started today, with pupils sitting for Mandarin and Tamil papers. A total of 440,743 Standard 6 pupils are taking the test, which ends on September 27th. This is the second year the Mandarin and Tamil language examinations are being held before the Bahasa Malaysia paper. The move is to enable the markers to complete assessing the papers before the Deepavali holidays, as it takes about 3 weeks to complete marking the papers. The UPSR examinations involve 8,100 examination centers and more than 54,000 examiners nationwide. Moving on, Attorney General Tommy Thomas today revealed hundreds of lopsided contracts were signed by the previous Barisan Nasional BN-led government. He said officers from the AG's chambers had put up a fight against the deals only to be overridden by their ministers. He also said while the officers were familiar with the contracts, the trouble with the deals was that they were very favorable to the counterparties and unfavorable to the government. Earlier, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad lambasted his predecessor, Datuk Seri Najib Razak's administration for its negotiation of contracts and deals. He had remarked that such stupidity has never been seen in the history of the country. Tun Dr. Mahathir further criticized the 2 gas pipeline projects by Surya Strategic Energy Resources, SSER, where money was paid based on a timeline rather than work completion. The Port Dickson parliamentary by-election will be held on October 13th with nomination day on September 29th. The Election Commission EC, which announced this today, said the campaign period would stretch for 14 days. Its Deputy Chairman, Tan Sri Othman Mahmud, added that the Commission is targeting a 70% voter turnout in the by-election for the Negeri Sembilan seat.
Pada PRK kali ini, seramai 1,403 orang petugas dilantik untuk mengendalikan proses PRK P132 Population ini. Manakala sebanyak 39 buah pusat mengundi yang mengandungi kesemuanya 171 saluran akan digunakan untuk kemudahan mengundi. PRK ini dianggarkan memerlukan peruntukan sebanyak 3.6 juta.
RM1 cost of having this by-election was more compared with previous by-elections because there were 5 state seats under the Port Dickson constituency, namely Chua, Lukut, Bagan Pinang, Lingi and Sri Tanjung. The constituency has 75,770 voters in the constituency, consisting of 68,486 normal voters, 7,268 early voters and 16 overseas voters. The Port Dickson seat fell vacant after its incumbent, Datuk Daniel Balagopal Abdullah, resigned to make way for PKR de facto leader, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's return to Parliament. After the break, autism, a subject often misunderstood. This and more when we return. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at our daily segment, Clickbait, for what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Regardless of age, bullying is never okay, period. Just recently, a young chubby girl incurred the wrath of netizens after videos of her bullying an elderly auntie started circulating on social media with over 7,000 shares in just 1 hour. It was reported that both the bully and the victim are working at a claypot rice restaurant in Muar, Johor. Now, according to China Press, 4 videos were uploaded by a netizen named Wee Wee Ho, showing how the chubby girl hit the auntie's head and face with a broom and stainless steel mug. She even verbally abused the defenseless woman with vulgar words. On the same night, Ho received a private message saying that the bully has been reprimanded many times before and would be fired soon. Needless to say, the bully was roasted cow by netizens, and so she decided to apologize to the victim. In another post, she was seen serving a cup of tea to the elderly woman, and both were seen giving each other a friendly hug. Love knows no bounds, and that's exactly what Biebs has recently done to prove his undivided love for his fiancée, Hailey Baldwin. Justin Bieber made an unexpected appearance outside Buckingham Palace in London to the delight of surprised fans and passersby on Tuesday. The 24-year-old superstar played a short acoustic set comprising a set of lists from his collaboration with Major Lazer and Myrrh, Cold Water to Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. Baldwin stood among a small crowd that had gathered to watch the pop icon busk. As he perched at the fountains of Victoria Memorial, Bieber strummed his guitar and said, "That girl right there is the love of my life," naturally swooning the crowd all over. Earlier in the day, Bieber and Baldwin went sightseeing around some of the city's most popular tourist spots, including the London Eye. The couple were in the British capital for London Fashion Week, where Baldwin walked the catwalk at the JD and Adidas Falcon fashion show.
That girl right there is the love of my life right there.
Now updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Touching is a form of communication for him. This was expressed by the mother of Ahmad Zikri Morshidi, an autistic man who was recently arrested for allegedly outraging the modesty of a woman last week. Expressing her disappointment over the arrest, Hasna Abdul Rahman said the incident would not have happened if people are more understanding and aware of individuals with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. Farah Nabila Wazir has more.
My son cannot be out with the rest of the world. I feel so guilty that I left him. He had no evil intentions. I know, because he's a child who's very curious, a very curious child. All children are curious.
What started off as a birthday celebration turned into a nightmare for Ahmad Zikri and his family on the night of 11 September 2018. Ahmad Zikri, a 22-year-old young man, has challenges with understanding and communicating with people. He is also hyperactive. So on the night of the incident, Ahmad Zikri went out of the restaurant and he allegedly touched the breast of a 24-year-old woman, and then the woman lodged a police report, and Ahmad Zikri was subsequently handcuffed and arrested and locked up overnight. No mother should witness her child being handcuffed and locked up, especially on their birthday. According to Hasna, until now Ahmad Zikri still does not understand the reason he was arrested that fateful night. Though she is frustrated, Hasna hopes that other individuals like her son would not have to go through such an experience and that their behavior would not be misunderstood.
At the end of the day, it's up to the DPP and up to the magistrate. I hope to God that it will not come to a case where he will be charged and whatever is the outcome of it, because it is something that someone like him should not go through, because unlike you and I, we know how to fend for ourselves. He doesn't know.
Meanwhile, Professor Hasna Toran, an autism expert, said Ahmad Zikri's case could be used to educate the public and raise awareness on autism.
Ibu bapa ni dia kadang-kadang dia rasa keberatan nak bawa anak keluar sebab bimbangkan hal-hal perkara yang inilah. Mereka rasa lebih selesa, lebih selamat jika anak di rumah. Dan bila kita simpan anak di rumah, bila dia keluar tu, satu, dia tak pernah terdedah dengan dunia luar, kan? Jadi bila datang ke tempat yang baru, dia rasa out of sync.
The mother of two autistic children also called on the government to review and adopt policies that are more suited when handling differently abled people.
Masyarakat lebih faham tentang cabaran yang dihadapi oleh ibu bapa, tentang betapa mereka perlu memahami apa itu autism sendiri sebelum menjatuhkan hukuman. Mungkin boleh lebih betul ansur.
Early education could also enable parents and their children to learn and to better understand, as well as interact with these special people who have equal rights like any other human beings. Farah Nabila Wazir for 7 Edition.
The Federal Land Development Authority, FELDA, plans to dispose some of its local and overseas assets as part of its turnaround efforts, which are expected to bear fruit within the next 2 years. Its chairman, Tan Sri Megat Zaharuddin Megat Muhammad Noor, said the agency also aims to reduce its debts by 19% to 6.5 billion ringgit by the end of the year, from 8 billion ringgit as at end of June.
You know what those assets are, right? So we have assets in London. We have hotels in London, we have hostels in London, we have apartments in London, okay? We have hotels in Kuching, we have hotels in Kota Kinabalu, we have, land here and there. And yeah, as I say, the idea would be to try and realize the highest price lah.
Tan Sri Megat Zaharuddin said one of the biggest challenges faced by FELDA was its weak cash flow position due to mounting bank loans, coupled with lower crude palm oil prices. He added that FELDA will submit a white paper, which is expected to be tabled at the next parliamentary sitting, to address various issues affecting the company, including poor planning, governance, and malpractices. When we return, fire tornado snatches firefighters' hose in Canada. Details next. Stay with us. We're back with 4 News. At least 15 people were killed and 10 homes buried in the Philippines early Thursday when heavy monsoon rains unleashed another landslide, this time at a rural farming community in Cebu. Rescuers are currently racing to search for survivors as about 50 to 80 people are missing, believed to have been buried by the massive landslide. Now, the new tragedy comes as the Philippines is recovering from the recent typhoon Mangkhut, described as 2018's most powerful storm, which caused a separate landslide in the nation's north, where dozens were buried and believed dead. Authorities reported that the new landslide occurred around 6 a.m. in the rural town of Tinaan, located on the popular tourist island. At the same time, hundreds of rescuers continue a grim effort searching for bodies in the mining area of Itagon, in the mountainous north of the Philippines, which was the area worst hit by the typhoon. Earlier, Mangkhut swamped farm fields in the nation's agricultural north and smashed houses when it tore through during the weekend with violent winds and heavy rains. Over in the UK, Storm Ali battered Northern Ireland and Scotland on Wednesday, leaving 2 people and dead across Ireland. Gale force winds from the storm had also overturned lorries, disrupted air traffic and severely damaged properties and left over 200,000 people without electricity.
A woman in her 50s died when high winds blew her caravan off a cliff in the Irish Republic. And an engineer working for the Northern Ireland Water Utility was killed in an incident involving a tree. In Scotland, a cruise liner off the coast had to be rescued, and people battled heavy wind and torrential rain as they tried to go about their daily tasks. Authorities reported that winds had reached over 140 kilometers per hour, which had cancelled more than 50 flights in and out of Dublin Airport. As of Wednesday night, an alert warning of flying debris was downgraded to yellow as the storm edged away from the UK.
Well, that wraps up 7 Edition this evening. We leave you with the trailer of First Man, a movie based on a true story of Neil Armstrong, who lost his 2-year-old daughter to a brain tumor, which will hit Malaysian theaters on October 11th. I'm Tonton Othman. Thanks for tuning in and have a lovely night.
Time for a great new American enterprise. Time for this nation to take a clearly leading role in space achievement, which in many ways may hold the key to our future on Earth. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. We set sail on this new scene because there is new knowledge to be gained.